everybody, this is Corey, the Berlin Lady, with another episode of What's Sold on eBay, Etsy, Mercari, and Poshmark. So it is officially February the 11th, 2025, and I just went sourcing and did not find much. So in my town nearest me, which is Marquette, Michigan, there are 3 thrift stores. That's what I'm going to say. And there's actually 4. So there is Salvation Army, there's a St. Vincent's de Paul, Goodwill, and then a thrift store called Pack Rats, which is headed by the domestic violence organization here in this county. And they have a good thrift store too. However, the prices are not as low as you'll find at the other thrift stores. So I only go there maybe once a month to every 2 months when they have really good sales, when they're trying to get rid of their winter inventory or summer inventory or what have you. But February is a slow month. January and February are. Because it's very cold today. It's about 0 outside with the wind chill, probably -10, making it feel like -10 degrees right now. So it's cold, and no one wants to hold estate sales because they don't think a lot of people will come, which is understandable. Even though weather doesn't affect diehards like me and a lot of other people. So I don't know if having an estate sale during the winter is a bad thing. Really, I don't think so. So it makes thrifting hard, though. It makes sourcing a little bit more difficult, and I don't find what I need, my quota that I need, as quick as I do in the other seasons. Because in the other seasons, there are more estate sales, and there are garage sales and yard sales, and there's little craft shows, trade shows, antique shows, what have you. And I can usually find things at those venues. So what I do, I go to other towns, and I do this in other seasons too. I go to other towns, like Escanaba is about an hour south of me. Sometimes I will go to Marinette, especially if I have an online auction, because Marinette, which is about 2 hours away from me, that's where usually all of the online auctions are that I buy from. And so when I'm there, I will usually go to the Goodwill and St. Vincent's de Paul's there. And sometimes I'll go into Green Bay, which is about a 3-hour drive for me. However, Green Bay does have a lot of thrift stores. It's a bigger city. Appleton, which is about 3 hours and 20 minutes from me, they do have a Goodwill bins. However, I usually don't find what I need. It's not worth the trip for me to go to the bins. It really is not. I have to spend all day there. I don't get anything great. So yeah, it's it's not worth it for me to go to the Goodwill bins in Appleton, Wisconsin. So, okay. Let's see what I've sold. Now, another thing I have done is I'm taking my sales a little bit part-time right now, because I got this message that was for a job online for a major website, a major fashion and home decor website. It has other things on it too. However, they are reconstructing their site and they are adding their AI. So I was given an invite to apply for the job. I got the job, and so I'm doing that right now, which is very, very exciting too. And I look at it as my long-term goals. Don't want to be dedicated or rooted down in one place. As you know, I may want to spend the winters somewhere else because it's too cold up here. Or I may want to go on vacation, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time. And now if I do that, then I really don't make the sales that I need, right? Because I had to put my stores on vacation hold. And you can get some sales, but in other times, they're not the best sales. So I want to be a little bit more liquid, and this other job is a good way to be more liquid. So we're going to see. But that doesn't mean that my love for resale has gone. I love reselling. It is a passion of mine. I love the treasure hunt. I love just the everyday of running my own business. I really love that. So I'm always going to have an online business. I'm always going to be reselling on eBay because I love eBay. And the other, and Etsy, Mercari, and Poshmark probably as well. I'll probably do all four. And I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see if this other job, I'm going to be working maybe 30 hours a week. I'm in training right now. They're getting some of their systems ready. So I haven't been working 30 hours a week. So I've been able to concentrate on my business more. So that's more in the forefront right now. However, when I do start working 30 hours a week or more for this other site, then I'll be doing a lot less on my business. But I'm going to see how things go, and I'm going to let you all join me on this path, and I'm going to give you full disclosure about how much I make, if I'm still making what I want to make. Now, since I am I'm slowing down on listing right now because I am training, so I do have to dedicate some hours to this other job, right? My sales have been lower because I've been listing less. And I noticed that drop immediately. However, I did not have great sales last year. I want to say now that I've gotten all of my numbers from last year from all four platforms, I made 8,000 less than what I did last year, which now that may not be a big deal, right? But it was a big deal to me. And I should be increasing because I increased my inventory. So I should be increasing my sales. And the way they decreased really made me wonder why that was. And is it because there is more competition on these online platforms? Are people scaling this, hiring employees, where the solopreneur can't make what they need to make because they'd have to list 30 listings a day, which I can't do and source. I think I would exhaust myself. And something about me being having a business of my own is, yes, I work 7 days a week. However, I make time for the things that matter to me. So I make time for my family. I make time for other things that I'm interested in, and that really works for me. If I needed to go on an appointment, or if I needed to take 2 days off to do something, then I could because it's my business, right? So this other one, I can't. This other business, this gig that I have right now is different because I'm a little bit more restricted. So yeah, we're going to see how this works. And I'm going to show you my totals from last month as well, so you guys can see what I'm making and the difference. So let's get into it. I'll stop talking now and I'll get into the numbers, and I'll also show you what I sold in this past week and a half. Okay, so these are my totals for January 2025. My gross sales were $5,318.53. My total net sales, this is my profit, okay? This is what I made in the month of January, was $2,745.17. My shipping was $882.61. You'll see my inventories $466.16, supplies $468.91. Now my supplies were a little bit higher because I did buy a GoPro camera. My fees were $668.91, and my returns were $86.77. Now my average net of each product, or of each item that I sold, that I listed in January, that sold in January, was $15.16. I sold 169 items in January. And my e-commerce fees were 24% of my net sales. So I took my net, I looked to see how much of a percentage it was, and yes, 24%. Now, let me show you last year's, and it's going to be higher, but I'm going to show you this just so you can see as well. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So last year, January of 2024, I made $8,832.50. My net sales were $4,134.56. Now my shipping, of course, was higher because I sold more items. I sold 234 items in lieu of 169. So my shipping was $1,485.63. My inventory was over double of what I paid in this month, this past month, at $1,066.04. My supplies were lower, $282.23. Fees were $1,788.75, and my returns were $75.29. Now, my average net profit was $18.18, so that's a little bit higher. My average inventory price was $3.80, and I listed 250. It's actually, because I start on line 3, just so you guys know. So it's actually 251 items that I listed January of 2024. Now, I only listed 159 for January of 2025. And my average inventory price was $3.49, which I'm happy with the $3.49. And the way I figured it, everybody, was that I still want to make a good amount of money with my reselling business. So I am really good with the $2,745.17 that I net because that is a good amount for me. I can live with that amount. I like that amount. Now, I believe that the least I want to make is $2,500 a month net sales, after all of my expenses are paid for. So that is my goal, to stay above $2,500. All right, so let's get into my sales. The first thing I wanted to show you today were these women's New Balance 927 shoes. I put down the the WW927BK number, the size, they were 6.5, new in box. Now I did take a best offer of $40 for these shoes. I bought them for $6.89 at a thrift store, though I don't remember which one. And my net profit was $35.24. I had these shoes for 2.5 years. So, and I'm not really big in the shoe game, guys, so I don't know what sneakers sell, especially with the New Balance. There are the really popular models, and then there's the less popular. And these were a less popular model along with the size. I sold this beautiful bronze metal candle holder with birds. Now this was very big. This was 19 inches. And it had been sitting in my store. And someone messaged me and said, hey, I know the shipping is really high on this. And I looked and it only had USPS ground shipping. Now with larger items, it's best to also have UPS and FedEx as options because those are usually cheaper than USPS, especially for the big items. However, just make sure that if it is FedEx, that it is boxed, it is not wrapped in a poly mailer, because they can and they have changed the dimensions and they can charge you more. So anyway, I did take a best offer for this. It sold for $50. Now I bought this at a Salvation Army in Escanaba for $8.48. My net profit was $35.37, and I had this for 2 years, and I think it's because the shipping was really, really high. Now, summer's coming up. Spring and summer is coming, even though it's freezing where I live. I know people are looking forward to being able to go to the beach and the pool again. This is a Lands' End cover-up dress, and this had a really nice thick cotton fabric with hoods, with a hood, with pockets. I sold this. Someone gave me a best offer for $22. I took it. I bought this for $2 at my local Goodwill, and my net profit was $18.66. I sold this in a week. Now, I found this at my local Salvation Army store, and it is a blue velvet bedspread. I mean, I saw it and I said, okay, I have to buy this thing because it is just so tacky. Now, there are condition issues with this. See, a lot of the fringe is missing, and there was also a hole, which is seen right there. So there's a small hole. That's why I did price it down a little bit. I did get a best offer for $27. I think the second day this was listed. Like I said, I paid $8.48. My net profit was $14.90. And yeah, I only had this for 2 days. So this was a very quick flip. And what sold video without my white lace curtains, right? This is a white lace curtain with a cabbage rose pattern. If you're not familiar with cabbage rose, this is what it looks like. And when I do see this, and maybe I should have put paisley in there too, but I did put coquette, which is a trending search word right now, trending keyword. This, someone gave me an offer of $18.99 for this curtain. I paid $2.65 at my local not Goodwill, but I believe Salvation Army or St. Vinny's. My net profit was $16.39, and I had this for a month. And I do have one extra if anybody is interested. Next up, we have this leopard print velour coat from the French shop. Now, this is vintage. The leopard print is, and maybe it's not really a leopard print. Maybe I should have put animal print for this one. I did put animal as a keyword. I had this coat for a while. I had it for 1.5 years before it sold. It wasn't a popular name. Maybe leopard print, the animal print's not really in right now. I received the best offer for $30. I took it. Now, I paid $10 for this at my local Goodwill. My net profit was $18.97, but I was glad to get rid of it after 1.5 years. And don't these sheets, they just scream 80s. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the rainbow and cloud patterns of the 1980s. So this is a twin sheet and pillowcase, just one pillowcase, just the flat sheet. And yeah, it's just the iconic 80s rainbow pattern. I did put pride in my keywords. This sold on a best offer of $24.50. I bought this for $3.50 at my local Goodwill. My net profit was $21.20, and I had this for a month. And we have a vintage Waverly Valance here. Now, I do have another one of these if you guys are interested. This sold for the full price of $19.99. Yep, that's correct. It did sell for the full price. I just had to make sure. I bought this on I think when I went to Green Bay last summer. I bought this for $2.11. And my net profit was $15.58. I had this Valance for 9 months. And another serving bowl. And if you saw, or if you haven't seen my videos on serving bowls, oh, you have to see them. There are some serving bowls that sell for crazy prices. So please look those up. Now this was a Rubel Ned Smith vegetable serving bowl. It has the mallard duck pattern, made in 1979 from Japan. I had this for a while. Let's see, I had this for 1.5 years. I did sell it on a best offer of $36.99. I bought this at my Goodwill for $4. My net profit was $31.27. Now, I can't say why this took so long to sell. I think it's because of the pattern. You know, mallard duck. Maybe it would fit a cavern or lodge home decor motif. So that could very well be the reason why it did take a little bit longer to sell. And Easter is coming up, so list those Easter things now if you have them in your dead or slush piles. This is just a really pretty watercolor Easter tablecloth. Here is, oh, there we go. Here's a picture of the whole entire thing. And of course it has these cute little bunnies sniffing the flowers. So yeah, this was very cute. Now this sold on a best offer of $18.50. I bought this for $1.50 at my local Goodwill. My net profit was $15.44, and I had this for 1 month. And I wanted to show you these spoons because and if you haven't seen my flatware video of how much flatware can sell, please go see that one too. Because I've had flatware sell for amazing amounts of money. Now, when I do get lots of flatware, I end up with a bunch of odd pieces. You know, pieces that don't have matches, pieces that I really don't want to sell singularly because it would just take it forever to sell. I wouldn't make a lot of money from them. So what I did was I lotted these up, and these are old patterns. A lot of these are antique, and you can tell the antique ones just from like this right here. When they're really ornate like this, that is definitely antique. So the more ornate they are, the more antique they are, pretty much. I mean, they're probably made in the 1910s or 1920s. Now, while this spoon right here has more of an Art Deco motif, so maybe 30s for this one. But anyway, people do use spoons in art. They make jewelry with old spoons. They do a lot of things. It's, you know, DIY, and I should have put that in my title, but I put crafts instead. So these sold on a best offer of $14.99. Now, since I got these, like these were just left over from a bunch of lots that I had, I just put down that my price was $0 because really these are the extra pieces that I didn't really have anything, I didn't know what to do with, so that's why I lotted them up. So yeah, $0. My net profit on this was $16.11, and this took 6 weeks to sell, so not too bad. So let's move on to Etsy now. Fedora hats really sell. I love selling fedora hats. I ship them out in a 10x8x6 box. Really easy to ship. You just have to have a box that doesn't squish them in any way. So the 10x8x6, they definitely work. This fedora sold for $25.99. Now I got this at my last auction buyout. So every item that I listed was $2.30, and my net profit was $15.61. This took 6 weeks to sell, and this was just a very nice gray fedora. Now this is a lesson of presentation, everyone. You know, you see this picture and what do you see? You see that it's wrinkled and creased, so it doesn't really look attractive. And this is mistakes that I've made that I've gotten better at. But this is what I did in the beginning when I first started getting these linens and selling them. I thought, well, I don't really want to iron all of these or steam all of these, but I do now. So this curtain did sit for 1 year and 8 months because I believe of the condition, the creasing. But it's really a pretty curtain with the lace trim. I mean, it has nice watercolor pastel, dainty pattern. So this did sell for $29.98. And just remember, on all of my Etsy and Mercari pieces, everything is free shipping. So I bought this at my local thrift store, probably at my St. Vincent de Paul's, for $3.18. My net profit was $18.91. And the last thing I sold on Mercari was this gorgeous oil lamp. I mean, I saw this, I got this at an estate sale where I paid $5. And it had just a really pretty thick globe. Do you see how thick that glass looks? And when you see that, that's just quality right there. So I had to get it. Now the base was made of a thinner glass. Do you see how it's that milk glass, but it's a lot thinner than the globe. So this sold, I think it was like a 15% off or 10% off, something of that nature, for $71.09. I bought this for $5. My net profit was $49.60, and I did have this for 6 months. Okay, so Poshmark has been a little slower. However, I did get a bundle. So someone bought a bundle of these vintage like jackets from JCPenney. So here is one, okay, and here is another. So yeah, this one is more of like a tweed striped brown jacket. I don't know if this was, I think it was maybe a wool blend for this, while this one is definitely polyester. And I mean, this one has a great houndstooth pattern on it, or like a houndstooth plaid type, or a houndstooth checked, right? So each one of these, now this was a bundle, like I said, and it sold for $48, the bundle did. So what I did, I just split it down the middle, so I have each jacket coming in at $24 each. I paid $2.12 for these at my local St. Vincent de Paul's, I believe. And my net profit was $17.08 for both, which equals to $34.16. And these are not popular items. I love buying vintage. However, vintage will sit. It will sit for a very long time. These sat for 3 years. And like I said, it's summer and spring and summer are gonna be here before you know it. So I won these in my last auction haul. So I got these for $2.30. These are Clark's unstructured sandals. They were brand new, no tags, but new. I mean, there are no marks on them, just very, very nice. And here are the bottoms. So yeah, really nice shoes. I decided to take a best offer of $24. I figured, why not? Just get them out of here. And my net profit was $16.90, and I had these for 7 weeks. 7 weeks, I almost said 6. Okay, so my last item was on Mercari, but I'm going to show you an eBay picture just because Mercari kind of blocks out their pictures on their solds. So this is a flax linen top, and it has this Peter Pan collar right here. So I made sure I put that in the listing. So this sold, someone gave me an offer of $35 on Mercari. I bought this at my local domestic violence thrift shop for $4.77. My net profit was $20.48, and I had this for 6 weeks. So remember, everyone, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you.